I would say good morning, but I think it's almost good afternoon. It's kind of fun to have a 10:30 session instead of 5:30 on Sunday. So nice to see all your bright, happy, shiny faces. Nice to have a little meditation to kind of clear us. And I just want to say thank you to the healers, because that's such an important piece to have in our lives, is to have somebody that can help you shift and change and that kind of stuff. So I am Christine Salter. This is probably my third time, I think, speaking here, and it's always fun for me. I like to share and teach just a little bit about my background, kind of who is this person and why am I standing here. So my healing started in 1999. I grew up in a household that was very chaotic, and I had a lot of blessings that I got to learn to work through. It's kind of how I look at healing at this point, is not as a victim, but this has set me up for things that I needed to learn on my path. And so I found massage school. I found Southwest Institute of the Healing Arts. I don't know if some of you probably know who that is, Sweeha, and became a licensed massage therapist 15 years ago. So I've really been on this path for a pretty long time. I'm not the psychic that's been psychic 30 years, but my gifts really opened up as time went on. And I like to share that because some of you that are intuitive, that maybe would like to do message work, or you're not sure, or the ego gets in the way and you don't have the confidence, my gifts opened up as an adult. And so they opened up very quickly, but I didn't have all that going on as a child. So I do understand healing. I understand the healing path. I have been working on myself for a very, very long time, and I will tell you that to me healing is like an onion. You're going to take off a layer, and you're going to work with it for a while, and like, oh great, I feel wonderful, and then it might be 2 days or 6 years down the road, and the next thing comes up, and you're like, I thought I dealt with that, but apparently not. So the mediumship part for me showed up in 2006. And it's something that I've really pushed away for a long time. I had a lot of concern. What are people going to think communicating with deceased loved ones? I've always been open to this kind of line of work for a really long time. But my grandfather showed up in my car one day, and he'd been passed for 5 years. And I thought, Grandpa's in the car. That's pretty interesting. Didn't think, hey, what's going on, Grandpa? Just Grandpa's in the car. So he says to me, he asked me to bring my grandmother roses for Valentine's Day. And my first knee-jerk reaction was, oh my God, what is this? What is she going to think? Now, my grandma and I are close, but, you know, dead Grandpa's in the car and he wants me to bring you flowers for Valentine's Day. Like, it wasn't computing. Like, I couldn't make that leap. And just as clear as day, I heard in my head, I'm asking you to do it because I can't. I thought, oh, you're right. I'm in the body, you're not. Okay, this all sounds kind of crazy, but I'll go ahead and do it. So stopped that morning, got flowers for Grandma, and went over to her house. So I'm standing outside, not sure what she's going to think. I knock at the door, and I go in and we sit down and talk, and she's looking at the flowers, kind of wondering, what is this all about? So I told her the story, and she never said a whole lot, and I always kind of wondered, what did my grandmother think when I did this? So about 5 years later, she said, you know, Chris, do you remember when you brought those flowers from Grandpa? I said, yeah. She said, that's the closest I've felt to him since he passed. Thank you so much for that. So it was such a loving thing for her. It was such a big deal for her, yet I didn't recognize how important it is to communicate spirit and the messages that they want to bring through. So it showed me in that instance how healing that can be. So I still kind of fought it. I still kind of pushed it off, and it finally, I had acceptance, I guess, that this is the work that I'm here to do, that I get into the hard, nitty-gritty parts of people's lives that nobody else necessarily wants to deal with, that nobody wants to help people through death, nobody wants to help people through grief and healing, and what is that like, and what is it like on the other side, and how do you recognize that spirit is with you? So through my massage career, I learned energy healing, and I've learned all these different modalities. I've learned to be a very spirit-led person. I like to say I look at the world through spirit eyes. So what is the higher level lesson? So I'm always looking for the meaning behind what I think the meaning is. But something that spirit has been really good about is pushing me. And I don't know about you guys, but I get this tap, 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 tap when they want me to do something. So lately, Spirit's been working with me with self-care. And I wanted to talk about it because as soon as Juanita asked me if I would come and speak, of course, I immediately go to Spirit. So what is it that you want me to share with them? And immediately the thought came to was self-care, to have a fun story I'll share at the end that I hope maybe you guys will incorporate. But so as a holistic healthcare practitioner, as a psychic, as a healer, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, I have all these places where my energy goes. But the last place that it tends to go would be right here with me. So anybody out there feel like they overgive? They don't have enough for themselves. They don't make themselves a priority. She's like, yes, I totally hear you. I totally get it. So I think in society we're really ingrained, a lot of us, that we need to give and not receive. And that really puts us out of balance. And it drains us. And it creates emotions in our body that we don't really want to experience, such as anger, resentment. A lot of people get sick when they overgive. As a healer, I see fibromyalgia, and some of you are probably familiar with fibromyalgia. Draining, like it just, you're done. You can't do anything else. And what I've come to discover over time with Spirit is that people that have an illness like that, because they can't say no and they don't have boundaries. So now they have something that they can say, I'm sorry, I can't do that because I'm just absolutely depleted. So what I've noticed with illness is that people will create things because they don't have those boundaries to say no. And I think it's always very interesting when you're trying to heal something, putting in boundaries is something that's really important. So I have some ideas here for self-care for the sensitive soul, because a lot of us really love to give, but it doesn't feel good to receive. So first thing I want to offer to you is to give yourself a break. I think that we are in the age of we need to be perfect to be accepted or perfect to be good enough. And how many people beat themselves up? I should have done this, I could have done that. Louise Hay, I don't know if you're familiar with her, she says, quit shoulding all over yourself. Change it to could, then it's a choice. Then you're not wrong either direction you take. And there's never a wrong path. We get in our head, it has to be this way. Like there's only one way to go, but there could be 500 roads that all take us to the same place. So we just need to learn to ask Spirit to, okay, can you help me find the best and highest path for me? So please stop shooting all over yourself. Say could, so I could do this or I could do that, and then it puts you in a place of empowerment. A lot of times working with people, I'll notice that they really beat themselves up emotionally. And I say, stop beating yourself, like with a stick. Like I literally see people beating themselves up. So if you have that in your personality or you were raised that way, I suggest that you do a little ceremony in your head of like breaking it, getting rid of it, tossing it, and being done with it, because it doesn't serve you and it just tears you down and makes you feel worse. Something else that I'm learning personally is to say yes to me. I find that I am very good at saying no to myself, but yes to others. And I think that I really have it backwards. So I find, oh, I'd really love to do that, but I just don't allow it. And I always think that's really interesting. Why am I not enjoying life? Why am I not doing the things that I really, really want to? And it can be something simple, such as, hey, I'd like to go out for a walk, but maybe I'll find something else that gets in the way. You know, oh, I've got laundry to do, or I'll find something else to not do the things that nurture me. So practice saying yes to you. I went shopping recently, and I'm really good at saying no. I really like to have that, and I decided, why don't I just start saying yes and see what happens? Yes to Spirit, yes to life, yes to the things that I feel are going to bring me joy, yes to happiness, and I don't mean yes to the extra latte Starbucks, because that doesn't necessarily feed your soul, but really finding those things in you that fill you up. Many of us are very depleted, empty, drained, and the only person who's going to feel better and make it better for themselves is you. We can't depend on anybody else to try and fill us back up. So with that, you have to make you the priority. And as I say that, I feel in my gut this tightening coming back from some of you, like, oh my gosh, what do you mean make me the priority? So you've probably all heard this, but it's something I like to share with people, is when you get on the airplane and the oxygen mask drops, what are you supposed to do? You put it on yourself first so you can help everybody else, because if you don't, you might help one or two people and then sayonara, you're gone. So find ways to put your own oxygen mask on. Find ways to feed you and fill your inner reservoir back up. I have a feeling most of you are perfect happy givers. Give, 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 give. Overgive, now I'm getting tired, now I'm really tired. But if you fill yourself back up, then you'll have plenty to always give to everybody else. But you have to give to yourself first. So figure out what is your oxygen mask. Is it painting, gardening, making sure you get enough sleep? Is it changing your diet? Starting yoga, learning to open your intuition? What is that thing that really will feed you? Most people are existing, I think, and not particularly living. And we work our jobs and we go home and we live in this box, and we really need to open the box, maybe flatten it, not have a box, color outside the lines, find those things that really feed us, whether literally, I've seen lately adults doing mandala coloring. If you use your left hand and you're accessing your inner child. So doing things outside of your norm will help bring your energy up and help bring in joy, because I think most people are really kind of missing joy from their lives. Another part of self-care I think is important is to create healthy boundaries. There's a great book by Doreen Virtue, Assertiveness for the Earth Angel, and it's all about intuitive people and setting those healthy boundaries. So how many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no, right? It eats at your spirit, it drains you, it creates more stress and drama in your life. But if you can get strong enough at your solar plexus and strong enough to start to say no, then your life is actually going to shift tremendously and your stress level is going to go down. I went away for my birthday recently, and I was having a great time, but one of the girls that came was a great, not a teacher, but she showed me how much I had grown, because she kept asking me to do things that were outside of what I wanted to do. And I was actually able to say, no, that wasn't what the agreement was, no. And it was really wonderful to see how much I'd grown and being able to put those boundaries in place. With my own personal self-care that I'm still learning about, because angels are constantly reminding me, it would be about practicing good body care. How many people get a regular massage? Okay, one. Wonderful. How many people drink enough water? Okay. Almost half. That's good. What about clearing your energy or other people's energies from your body? Okay, good, we've got 3. Some of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. We can take on other people's energy, and it's a really good self-care thing to cleanse and clear you of other people's energy, particularly for the sensitive soul. So the sensitive soul, and you guys may recognize yourself in this little scenario, but the sensitive soul or the light worker finds somebody and takes on their karma and their stories and tries to heal them and tries to overreach and do their work for them, and then we end up taking on all their energy. And that's not healthy for us, because now we've got our stuff to deal with, and we're going to process 15 other people's stuff, and they feel better, but then their soul says, no, we need to learn this lesson. And another light worker or sensitive person will come along and say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry you're having that experience, here, let me help you. And then they overreach those boundaries and they take that person's lesson. Eventually the soul says, look, we're going to learn this one way or another, whether you like it or not. And the cosmic 2x4 comes in and smacks you upside the head, and you get the rug ripped out from under your feet. You're like, what the heck? So what I would say to you, beautiful, sensitive soul light workers, that let them have their lessons. Nobody's a victim. Nobody is disempowered in truth. So let them have their experiences, because ultimately you're making things harder on them. So I give you permission to let people have their misery, and I give you permission to let them grow in their own way without trying to do it for them. Anybody here feel like they take on everybody else's lessons, or they're trying to learn for them? Because I can feel energetic, I got whatever they're going, there's no way, but energetically we tend to do that, and I think that that's part of being a sensitive soul. So when it comes back to your body, for me it's something as simple as I lotion my feet every night before bed. I can neglect little needs very easily, and then it just kind of snowballs. And so for you, figure out what it is. You know, I might do a deep conditioning treatment on my hair or something that's just really simple that makes me feel good. So I would suggest to you guys to figure out what are some little things that I can do for me that actually brings me joy, that makes me feel better, that brings up my self-worth. Archangel Michael's telling me too, when it comes to the energy clearing, even just taking a shower and imagine that the water just washes everybody else's energy off of you is important. Like Niagara Falls, whatever it takes to get everybody else's energy off. You can be corded to people, so you can have energy attachments between people. And so when that happens, cords of love always stay, but everything else needs to be cut because you can send energy back and forth and it can be very toxic. So you can ask Archangel Michael every night to cut your cords between people. Super important. Anybody ever been around somebody you feel like it's an energy vampire? Like you talk to them and then you're so drained afterwards. Yeah, you're still corded. You need to cut that. If we're talking with somebody and maybe you're still thinking intensely about them for a few days, you're still corded. You need to cut that. And so that will also bring up your energy, which of course makes you feel better. I'm just asking in my head, oh, Epsom salt bath. So taking an Epsom salt bath also is a great way to clear other people's energy. The last thing that they're telling me is that you can also ask the universe to send you back your energy that you've scattered everywhere and release the energy that you're holding of everybody else and just send it back to them. So if you can at least just work on managing your own energy, I think that you'll feel a whole lot better. All right, so another piece for self-care for the sensitive soul is connecting with spirit regularly. Maybe every day. It's important, I believe, to live a spirit-guided life. And you don't have to know your spirit guides' names. You don't have to, you can use whatever word you want, God, spirit, universe, angels, goddesses, fairies, whoever it is that you feel called to work with. But if you can learn to connect with them and learn to recognize messages, you don't have to live in fear so much. You can get those answers that you're looking for. And Juanita and I were speaking earlier, like sometimes, yes, you want that flashing, blinking sign that says do this, and it doesn't necessarily work that way, but you can get the bits and pieces that guide you along the way. I'm at the point working with spirit, because I've been doing professional readings for about 10 years now, that I'll be having a thought, kind of processing things, and sometimes I'll have a voice in my head that answers me before I even finish. I'm like, can't I even finish my thought before I get some kind of answer back? It's just kind of funny because I know how in tune we are. Ways to connect with spirit would be using oracle cards, coming to a service like this because you're all very wide open and connecting with spirit, having healings, working with oracle cards, learning how to use your intuition, really how do you harness that? Because everybody's intuitive, do you guys agree? Everybody gets messages? Maybe they don't make sense. Maybe we don't need to understand a message now that's meant for 6 months down the road, but connecting with spirit in a daily way, I believe really will feed you, because then you know that you have that support going on behind you. So the self-care is important for everyone. If you're a grieving parent, you're going to be neglecting yourself. If you're a busy parent, you may be neglecting yourself. How many of you give to the kids and there's nothing left? You're spent. You go to sleep at night. Yeah, you understand, don't you? So really, it's important to make you the priority, to make you number one, to find ways to feed you, to find ways to bring up your own joy and happiness, because nobody else is going to do that for you. It really is on you. But you can ask Spirit to help partner and really bring things up quite a bit. So Archangel Michael's reminded me now to share their idea with you. So Spirit and I talk in the car all the time. Like I don't get messages for everybody all the time because I have open and closing business hours with Spirit, so I can go out and live my life. I have no idea what's going on with everybody else, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Now for me, there's constant information coming in. So I was in the car one day, and I just got home, and Spirit and I were speaking, and I hear in my head, Christine, when two people get married, they give each other a ring, and it's their outward sign of commitment for the relationship, for taking care of each other. And it's something that they see and they put on, every day. This is my commitment. So they said to me, which I just love, they said, we want you to get yourself a self-commitment ring. As a commitment to you that every single day you're going to take great care of yourself. And so every morning, so I did finally find one, and it's an amethyst. And amethyst to me is my thought of connecting with spirit. So amethyst for me is a spiritual stone. And so every day when I put it on and throughout the day, I'm like, okay, am I taking care of myself? Did I do the things that I said? Am I drinking enough water? So Spirit would love for you to think about the idea and see if you want to take that on. If you're really committed to taking extra good care of yourself, to have something as a physical reminder. So every single day, you're reminded, oh yeah, okay, did I get enough sleep? Am I getting enough water? Am I having joy? Am I having fun in my life? So I loved the idea, and everybody I've shared it with, some people have already done that and gotten the message, and that's fun. So I would invite you to feel that out and see if that works for you. Maybe it's a necklace or something as a physical reminder of your love for yourself as you develop your self-care, develop your self-worth, bring up your self-esteem. And so I personally really, really love it because I get enough messages everywhere else, but it is nice to have that physical reminder. So make self-care your priority. Make you the priority. Bring yourself up, and then you can share your gifts even more with the world. Because if we're drained, we can't give. But if we're nourished and fulfilled, then we have plenty extra to give. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And Juanita, thank you. I love when I get a chance to come and share with Spirit. So thank you very much.